Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's workshop, which is really exciting. It's a really exciting one because we're joined by the Capsule team, who will be teaching us all about the wallet landscape and MPC/AA. Hi, Aditi. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining. Everyone, please do feel free to say hi in the chat. Let us know how everything's going, if you've started building your projects yet, if you're integrating Capsule, all that kind of fun stuff. Also, like usual, feel free to pop any questions that you have in the questions tab, just so they don't get lost in the chat as well. I'm ready whenever you are, so if you want to try and just share your screen, we can go ahead and get started.
Beautiful. Let me do that. All right. Thank you so much for having me. Really excited to be chatting about key management, the wallet landscape, and how this ties into roll-apps and the cross-chain ecosystem more broadly. A little bit about me. I started my career at Consensus, where I was working on the product team, trying to bring more developers to Ethereum in 2017. Since then, I've held product roles at The Graph, and most recently, I was the business lead at Celestia, where I was focusing on go-to-market and market definition for modular blockchain. So this is very full circle for me to be chatting with Dymension, because we had worked with the Dymension team very early on in the company formation process and early on in the roll-up thinking. And so really excited to be here. Left Celestia in late 2022 and joined the Capsule team in a similar role, where I've been focusing on kind of early customer definition and go-to-market. And I've been here for about a year and a half. So really excited to give you the full scope of wallets and how things have progressed in the space so far. Perfect. So why are we still talking about this? Crypto has been around for so long, since 2013, 2015, but key management is still a large theme in the space. And the reason why is crypto uniquely has two separate concepts. One is applications, and the other one is wallets. And these are two distinct product experiences, but both these applications actually are able to send transactions to the chain. So applications are more kind of suited for reading data and proposing transactions, and wallets are more suited for writing data to the chain, getting confirmation from the user, and passing that data to the blockchain. And so in crypto, it's kind of unique where we have these two separate product experiences that do transactions and write transactions to the chain, and they're very different. And so this is significantly different from Web 2, where in Web 2, I can read a Medium article, go to the bottom of the article and write a comment and press submit. And then the comment shows up as a comment in the website. In Web 2, that's a very common experience where you're able to read data from one place and then also write data and send it out. However, in Web 3, you kind of need two separate product experiences to do this. You need, of course, the application to show the user what's happening, and then you also need the wallet to actually propose transactions and execute them. And so the big difference is applications are places where you as a user can decide what to do and what you'd like to transact on. And then the wallet is now the place where you can actually execute those transactions and perform them. And so we're still talking about key management because now in Web3, we're still dealing with two very different places where you can propose and send transactions from. And that's very different from what we know in Web2. Perfect. And so in our mind, we think of wallets as products, but they're also a platform for evaluating transactions. So what this means is they're a place where a user is trusting an environment to see what they're signing and evaluate whether the transaction is safe to sign or not. And I think wallets generally have evolved so much through the space, and we'll we'll talk a little bit more about how they've evolved over time in this talk. So getting a little bit specific on what wallets do. Of course, they do the classic signing and evaluating whether transactions are safe. So as a user, you can send, stake, swap right within your wallet. You can also see kind of what transactions you're signing, but then you also do all these other things. Wallets handle kind of the user interface piece of the experience. So they're a place you can view your balances, switch networks, look at your NFTs. They're also a place for authentication. In this case, this is a private public key, typically. They're also a place to do things like transaction formation. So this is forming a transaction, let's say I want to do a swap, verifying it, presenting it to the user, and getting that signature from the user. And they also do everything from the transaction signing through to the node infrastructure. So they, once the wallet forms a transaction, it is propagated as a confirmed transaction to a mempool, and then add to a confirmed block. Of course, all of this passes through an RPC endpoint. So wallets not only handle kind of the user interface part of the experience, so informing the user about what they're doing, but they also handle everything from transaction formation to sending it to the blockchain, etc. And so from our perspective, wallets do a lot, and they're quite important in the landscape today as more and more people build on-chain apps like you guys. Perfect. So a little bit about the general wallet evolution. I'm sure you guys are familiar with some of the steps here, but wallets have changed really drastically over time. So initially, the first kind of phase of wallets was standalone wallets. So this is like MetaMask, essentially, where your MetaMask is this trusted environment where your seed phrase is held, and not only are you able to look at your balances and manage them, but you're also able to manage things like signing transactions within the extension and inspecting things. So this also means you as a user, if you want to transact on different networks like Base or Zora Chain, you need to now manually add a network to your MetaMask in order to transact. This is good, but the standalone wallet paradigm comes with some challenges. You have to manage your own browser extension. You have to manage whether you're actually signing transactions that are safe and not draining your wallet. You also have to manage tons of signatures on things. But they're a really good way to manage trust and trust assumptions for the user because they're truly self-custodial kind of wallets that exist. The next iteration of wallets are app wallets. I included there's a screenshot of the Uniswap wallet as an example. These are the classic super wallets. I'd say we're seeing a lot of this, or maybe I would say it really peaked in 2021, but is continuing to peak now, where a lot of app functionality is now being brought into wallet interfaces. So things like swaps, being able to view your NFT collections, even some social features like recommended transactions or recommended mints. This is very similar to, think of the Zerion wallet experience, think of the Uniswap wallet experience. This is kind of bringing more application-esque features directly into the wallet and making them more fun and incentivizing users to spend more time in their wallet. So that's kind of like Act 2. The next evolution, which we're seeing, is embedded wallets. This is specifically app-specific embedded wallets. So just like how wallets are having more app-specific functionality, like viewing your NFTs or becoming more social, we're seeing that applications are also becoming more like wallets. So this is the rise of specifically the embedded wallet trend. So this is where you can, as a user, sign up for an application via a social login, an email, or a passkey, and then create a wallet within the context of an app. So some classic launches that had embedded wallets are things like the Reddit NFT Polygon campaign that launched, I believe, a couple of years ago. That had an embedded wallet. Starbucks Odyssey NFT also had an embedded wallet. This is basically enabling people to more easily sign up for a wallet within the context of an application. So this has been largely healthy in the space, but has created a new issue. instead of having one wallet that we now take everywhere by way of a browser extension or a separate application on our mobile phones, we now have tons of wallets cross-chain, cross-app that we're now trying to manage. And it's very difficult, as we all know. And so this has led to the final iteration of the wallet landscape, which we call cross-app embedded wallets. So these are embedded wallets that are easy to create. So they have no seed phrase, don't require additional signatures on transactions, and are recoverable, but also move across applications with you. So very similar to MetaMask in that I can connect to any application I want and log in very easily. So this has kind of generally been the evolution of wallets. We are seeing more around embedded wallets, specifically with things like multi-party computation and account abstraction, but I'll get to a little bit of that in the later slide. But this has generally been the arc of how wallets have been evolving over time. Perfect. In our mind, this is the Capsule take, and I'm actually curious what the rest of the group thinks. But in our mind, wallets should be fully abstracted UX plus the portability and verifiability of Web3. What does this mean? So fully abstracted UX references the Web2 style experience that we all know and love today, where I can construct a message in my Slack server, I can post it, and all of that happens within one application. I'm not managing different things. I'm not inspecting JSON blobs. I'm able to do this all in one place and just have a seamless UX kind of experience in that context. The second thing that is truly necessary in our mind from the endgame perspective is the portability and verifiability of on-chain systems. So this is a wallet that is usable across applications, across chains, that is, of course, self-custodial, and allows people to transact without needing to have the knowledge about how to sign transactions, how to inspect them, how to switch networks, how to add an RPC endpoint, etc. So maintaining the ability to self-custody your assets, yet still have a really clean user experience. Now, this is all good and well, but there's still a lot of problems with this vision and mission. How do we get there? We have so many wallets, and we still have so many places where assets, NFTs, and crypto sits. And so one big question is, how do you manage this as a user, and how do you make this easier for your users that you're building for? Account abstraction has also had a lot of airtime in the last few months. And question here is, account abstraction is great, but how does this work in a multi-chain context where account abstraction isn't always scalable? We found that the account abstraction spec can differ per chain, per VM. Different chain ecosystems are implementing it differently. And so this means if your users have a smart contract account on a certain chain ecosystem, can they truly port that wallet over to another chain ecosystem and use that in a separate app in a different chain? And the question is, and the answer is usually no, and comes with some trade-offs. And so how do you think about AA and scaling that to a multi-chain context like you guys are thinking about? The third point is signing a transaction will always require a private key. This is more of a security point and a larger question. So in a world where applications are now starting to be able to transact from the app itself in this embedded wallet context, how do you make sure that the way you're managing a private key in an app is safe, especially when users are now transacting across more on-chain applications and some apps can't be trusted? There's been countless examples of people connecting their wallet to applications and those apps not being trusted, and then them having their full wallet drained. And so how do you manage some of the security assumptions when users are transacting across applications and some transactions are being generated from an app itself? And then the last point that's still a big consideration in this design space is sharding keys can help this is, we'll talk a little bit more about what this means, but can get really scary and erode some security properties if we're not careful about how we shard keys. So what we want to avoid is sharding keys and exposing them in full private key form to users, to end users, or to bad parties. But also, we still want to manage things like censorship resistance and making sure that the system is still designed in a self-custodial way. And so, considering these goals, the end game has to be thought about in a very careful way. And from the Capsule perspective, we view these big questions as really important when thinking about what this kind of ideal wallet end state will look like. Great. So the goal here is not needing both a wallet and an application to transact. So that's like default experience today, where as a user, if I connect to an application, I have to, one, do things in the application to transact. So if I want to initiate a swap or if I want to mint an NFT, I take those actions within an application. But then I also have to confirm those transactions and actually manually inspect things in a separate product, the wallet, in order for those transactions to actually be written and be sent to the chain. And so these are kind of three different ways that we can avoid needing two distinct products in order to have kind of a clean wallet UX, which is our goal and the goal of this talk. So let's go over three paths. The first path is this HSM EOA path. So this is where private keys are stored in hardware security modules and have a separate kind of signing interface parsed out. And so, of course, there's a trust assumption with where this key is stored, but this kind of cleans up the way that transactions are sent to the chain, because the private key is sitting in an HSM and the signing interface is in a separate place. So from the user perspective, all I do is press buttons and transactions kind of happen. The second path is something called Shamir secret sharing. So this is where you generate a private key, but then you split up the private key into different shares. So you can have share 1 and share 2 and have those shares be in different places. This can lead to some cases around shaky security assumptions. So when you need to sign transactions, you actually need to reconstruct the private key somewhere, and then you can initiate a transaction. So this can lead to cases where the private key is in places where it can easily be compromised, things like a browser or an application front end. So this is the distinct trade-off with something like a Shamir secret sharing approach. And then there's this like distributed MPC approach. So this is where you have two parties to collaborate to generate a shared secret. And then you facilitate a multi-round signing protocol that signs a message with that shared secret. In this case, it would be a private key. So this prevents the private key from needing to be in the same place where signing is happening. And it just allows the private key and the signing to be kind of separated out in terms of space, which kind of allows for safer and more secure experiences. So couple of different paths. This is paths involving MPC specifically. You might be thinking, this sounds a lot like AA. It does. I'll get into the AA world in the next slide. But on the MPC piece, you can also extend this out to things like programmable MPC. So this is actually how Capsule is designed. We leverage distributed MPCs specifically because the private key and the signing happens in different places. We can add things like permissions or evaluation logic to the transacting experience. So certain shares might not have the same privilege. So this kind of opens up the space to do things like automated transacting, 2FA on transactions that exceed a certain threshold, things like that. So this, again, is very similar to account abstraction. So account abstraction has gotten a lot of attention over the last couple of months, specifically around smart contract accounts and AA infrastructure like paymasters and bundlers. We specifically partner with a variety of AA providers. If that's something you're interested in, we should chat about that later. We have partnerships with Alchemy, StackUp, Pimlico, and Biconomy. Zero Dev is coming soon. But specifically what you can do with account abstraction is a very similar transacting experience. So you can do a lot of this with something like session keys, where you have different signers on a wallet that have different permissions. In our world, you can do things like have signers be MPC signers that have certain levels of on-chain permissions. We spoke earlier about some of the issues around AA, specifically the fragmentation on a per chain per VM level. To solve for this, we've seen Capsule be used as an MPC signer on AA wallets. And so that way you can maintain the ability to connect to different chains while still leveraging one signer that the user has to interact with. So kind of a broad design space here, but we've seen a lot of success with leveraging both MPC and AA. And I would say in the space, they're viewed pretty complementary and have different properties that can benefit your app. Perfect. So I spoke a little bit about what I think the end game is, but to bring it all back, we believe the end game should maintain this property of being fully abstracted while still maintaining the benefits of building on blockchains. So we want to be able to use wallets everywhere, leverage composability, and have users verify what they're signing where. So at Capsule, we think about this more in an SSO style context where applications have scoped access to wallets and users can revoke or grant permissions to apps without unilaterally allowing applications to get kind of full permissions on things like transaction execution and things like that, where apps can, drain wallets from a user's funds from a user's wallet. So some key features about Capsule, which I think could be helpful for this group. We do everything from easy user onboarding through to SSO, and I'll talk more about some other features. On the easy user onboarding, we allow you to onboard your users through email, phone number, and social logins. So this is fully customizable. You can change the colors, you can change the logos and the look and feel of the experience. So this allows you to kind of easily capture your users wherever they are. And that's really important to us to kind of make crypto a little bit more accessible. We also allow for features like multi-device. So more often than not, we see users signing up for wallets on their mobile phone and then needing to use that wallet on desktop later. We allow people to sign transactions from anywhere, whether it's a different device or a different context entirely. So this just allows your users to be able to access the same wallet across different places. And then we do things like multi-chain SSO. So Capsule works across any ECDSA chain. So currently this covers any EVM chain and any Cosmos chain. So if you, we have partners from the EVM ecosystem that are leveraging Capsule. So this now means if you were to integrate the Capsule SDK, you would get a network of users that have email or social login wallets with liquidity in their wallets could easily transact in your app. So we kind of allow for this kind of multi-chain paradigm across different ecosystems. We also do programmable signing, like I referenced in the previous slides. So we allow, as developers, we allow you to kind of program how and when transactions are executed. So you can do things like I mentioned, 2FA on certain transactions, or add automations, or add things like transacting limits on your user's wallet. In addition to that, we do wallet portability. So we believe if users are creating wallets, that those wallets should not be temporary, they should be permanent, because we're trying to reduce the amount of wallet fragmentation there is. So users can transact across apps, even if we are not integrated in other applications. So this means anyone integrating Capsule, like I said, kind of gets a network of users with email or social login wallets with liquidity ready to go. And then we also do social login without the liability. This is referencing leveraging passkeys, so that the security and safety of your users' social logins is decoupled from the safety of their wallet. So some additional security protections there as well. So some final closing notes. we want to move to a world where wallets feel universal, just like crypto is. And we think we're getting there. I think we're also getting there with some of the interesting applications that are building on Capsule. So please definitely hit me up if you want to chat about this afterwards. But some recent partnerships have helped move this forward. We recently partnered with MetaMask, where Capsule wallets are now supported as an account type in the extension. So you can add and manage a Capsule wallet right within MetaMask. We've also partnered with certain apps in the Cosmos ecosystem. So Leap is an example. Like I said, our infrastructure works across the EVM and Cosmos. So people that create a wallet within Leap with the social login or an email can now also manage it on MetaMask or SSO into some of our EVM partners' applications. And yeah, we're really interested in working with teams that are thinking about this and are thinking about transacting experiences that go beyond just kind of logging in and pressing mint. We think that some of the recent apps in the space today are getting closer and closer to that ultimate vision that we're really excited about. And so you guys have a lot of details about us, but if you want to try out Capsule, you can sign up for a beta API key using that QR code or visit our website. Clara has also been really lovely in sharing out a beta API key to y'all. So that is also a good place to start. But we are around. We are really excited for what you guys are building on Dymension, and think the cross-chain, cross-rollup future is a very exciting place to be playing in. So really curious to see where y'all land through the hackathon, and yeah, here for questions. And then this is my info. If you have anything you want to chat about, feel free to DM me there. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I see that there's one question that's popped up just in the chat from Jay asking, is Capsule Wallet compatible with all ecosystems like the Cosmos and the EVM?
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed, it is. So it works across any Cosmos app or any EVM app. And so we have a couple of Cosmos partnerships coming live soon. Leap is probably our biggest one. We also recently integrated with Celestine Slots. They had a NFT storefront where you could sign up for a wallet really easily, kind of on ramp, and then purchase a slot from there. We have some more Cosmos partnerships coming out soon that could be really interesting for you. And of course, on the EVM side, we're working with several apps there. But yeah, I think we're really excited about that because we've seen so much overlap between the EVM and Cosmos ecosystem. And so being able to have the same wallet work across different chain ecosystems is very important to us. And we see that as a wedge to even work with things like account abstraction very easily out of the box.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I saw that there was kind of a lot of questions about how to receive one of these beta API keys. I have been circulating the form that you need to fill out, but basically you just need to fill out a form. We're going to ask you for your name and your email just so that we know which email address to send it to, and we can kind of match it to whichever team you're in. That's all. And then hopefully within a very short amount of time, you'll just be sent your key and you can start kind of playing around. I'll send it one final time in the chat now.
This form is also a good place to, oh, perfect. Okay, Clara, you already sent that. That's great. I was going to send our type form as well if that was of interest, but yeah, feel free to just message us directly if you had any questions or if you had any thoughts on what exactly to build. There's a lot of interesting applications that I think you can build with Capsule, especially with things like permissions and programmable signing. So yeah, just shoot me a text and we can figure it out. But we're always happy to answer questions. And the Encode team has been doing such a great job with handling anything that comes up. So they're also a great resource to leverage.
Yeah, for sure. Like usual, if anyone needs anything, feel free to email me, DM me. I'll send my Discord handle just in the chat now as well. If you guys have any final questions, please do drop them in the chat now. Otherwise, I think that might be everything from us today. I see that someone is typing, so I'm just going to hold off another few seconds. And I actually have a question for you. I just wanted to ask like a general question for those people participating who still don't really know what they want to build. Do you have anything that you think would be super interesting to see?
Me specifically?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, we've been really, okay, great. We've been really excited about things like social, especially within Cosmos. And I think we're finally getting to a place where if you're building a social app on Cosmos, you don't want to make your users manually sign transactions in an app and in a wallet. It's very difficult. And so given that our infrastructure is embedded, it could be a really interesting time to build something a little bit more social. We are seeing a lot of that in the EVM space with things like Warpcast, Lens, things like that. And so that could be really cool. We are seeing a lot of interest in gaming as well, because of similar reasons, where as a user, you have to typically you have to manually sign transactions in two places, which is very difficult, especially with on-chain gaming where you're constantly signing. And so to be able to do that in one place and also have that wallet be usable in Stargaze if you want to like sell a skin, or if you want to transact beyond just that application, that could be really good. Okay, great. Jay, I'll follow up with you on that. Do you want to send me your Telegram? This is me. Great. But I think those two are really interesting spaces that we're particularly excited about. DeFi is always interesting with things like permission, so you could add 2FA before anyone transacts above a certain limit, so that could be cool. Yeah, generally happy to jam with anyone if you have hackathon ideas. Actually, I had a quick list of ideas for folks specifically building in this hackathon that could be really cool, like a request for project. So Clara, maybe I'll send that out to you after.
That would be amazing. I always think that that's super helpful to have for people just to get started. So yeah, I'll chase you for that for sure.
Perfect. Yeah, Barry and I were jamming about this, and we had a couple of ideas. We're like, oh, maybe we should propose this to the group. So yeah, I'll do that for sure.
Cool, amazing. Do you have any final words of encouragement or tips or things you wanted to say before we kind of say goodbye?
You guys are all crushing it. I've been checking out the activity on Discord, and it's been super exciting. And yeah, I think Dymension is an incredible ecosystem with so much talent. And yeah, the ability to just spin up your own RollApp is very, very exciting. And I think opens up the design space for a lot of cool applications. So just really excited to see what you all put together, and I'm around. So if anyone needs my info, just holler. And Clara has all my info as well, so she's a good resource here as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Very, very encouraging and very interesting, super clear, informative workshop. So thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining as well. As always, it's really nice seeing so many of you here today. And yeah, like both me and Aditi have been mentioning throughout this whole workshop, feel free to reach out if you do need anything. We're here to help and support. I think that's it from us then. So thank you so much, everyone, one more time, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Thanks, guys. See ya.